Hi, I'm Ron Miller. I'm the chaplain of the Forest Lake American Legion Post. Along with the VFW, we do an annual United States flag etiquette and history class for all second graders in the Forest Lake area. We made a schedule with the teachers to come to the schools beginning April 1st. This is 2020, and poof, it sadly became an April Fool's plan. With all of the schools doing distance learning because of the coronavirus pandemic, the schedule was canceled. So we made this video for all to enjoy. You may be wondering what etiquette means. Well, a similar word, here's flag etiquette. A similar word to that is proper. So it's the proper way of dealing with the United States flag. So flag etiquette, that's what the subject is today. Our U.S. flag is also called the American flag, and it has nicknames such as Old Glory. This came from a ship captain, William Driver, in 1831, which was about 200 years ago, kids. And the U.S. flag also has a nickname, Colors. So we are going to march as a color guard to post the colors. When the colors are coming towards you like we do at the front of the 4th of July parade each year, you need to do 4 things. You need to stand, you need to face the flag, and keep on facing it as it goes by. You need to take off your hat and place your hand over your heart. 4 things. And we're going to march them in now. Color guard, attention, forward, march. Mark time, march. Colors, halt. Right, face. Post. Notice how he turned the eagle around. He flew the eagle in on top of the staff, and then he turned it around so it faces the audience. Colors. Hand salute. 2. Everybody please join us by putting your right hand over your heart, and let's recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2. About face. Now each one of them, we're all veterans up here, but each one of them are going to say a little bit about themselves, their service in the military, and then what they've done in the American Legion or the VFW.
Hi, I'm David Rovang. I spent 22.5 years in the Air Force. I started out as an air traffic control officer and then went to pilot training and became a pilot. After that, I flew with Northwest Airlines for about 15 years. And once I retired, I got active in the VFW. And when I started with them, I became the chaplain and the honor guard captain, and that's why I'm here today, and it's my pleasure to be here with you kids.
Thank you, Dave.
And my name is Ron Hoheisel, and I started in education back in 1969. In the summer of '70, I received a letter from Uncle Sam inviting me to participate in the military, so I joined became part of the Army. I spent a permanent duty of 13 months in South Korea, and then went back to education, and I'm now a member of the VFW because of what I served in South Korea, and I'm also a member of the American Legion. And today I'm dressed as a color guard member in the American Legion.
Thank you, Ron Hoheisel. Vicki Petrie.
Hi, my name is Vicki Petrie. I am the current commander of the American Legion in Forest Lake. I was in the United States Navy aboard a ship that was stationed off of the West Pacific out of San Diego. I spent my whole career on a ship. I was in the Navy from 1982 through 1987. I was a computer technician, so I installed computers and I also did the programming. When I got out, I was an E3. I am a current lifetime member of both the Forest Lake American Legion and the VFW Post 4210.
Thank you, Vicki. And I'm Ron Miller. And I was in the Army. I had 30 years. I was a helicopter pilot, was one of my main jobs, and retired to full colonel. Then I joined the American Legion. And after I'd been in for a while, back in 2008, I became the chaplain of the Legion post here, and I'm still that. This banner shows 5 U.S. Armed Forces Military Services branches. They are United States Air Force, that's what Dave was in, United States Marine Corps, and in the middle is the U.S. Army, that's what Ron and I were in, Ron and Ron. The Navy, that's what Vicki was in, and then the Coast Guard. So those are the 5 armed forces of our United States, but there's also now a Space Force that is starting up, so there will be 6. In ancient times, banners and flags were used to show who the person or group was. When the king came through the town holding a banner on a pole with a crosspiece near the top, would be someone out in front of him, and they'd hold that cloth banner and to clear the way. In military battles, the leader would tell the flag bearer would be the soldier carrying the U.S. flag, and the leader would tell him where to go and when to go, and then the others of that group would follow. Well, flag number 1, before we became the United States about 250 years ago, we were a colony of the Kingdom of Great Britain. Yes, we were under the king. The flag flown on government buildings was a British one, like this. But a flag that's on a ship is called an ensign, E-N-S-I-G-N. And ensign, if you cover up the E-N part, it spells sign, S-I-G-N. And so it's the sign, the ensign is the sign of that ship. So what is it, what country is it from, or where has it been, kind of a thing. So this was a British red ensign. It has the British symbol in the upper corner, like the previous Great Britain flag, but this one here has the red all around it. So that one is called the British red ensign. You'd see that on a ship, and a little later on you're going to see another one, flag that has white stripes, but otherwise it's just like this, so keep that in mind. The king imposed lots of taxes and rules on the people in the colony, and for other reasons, many wanted to separate from Great Britain. This third flag is a green pine tree flag, and it showed that colonists were angry about not being able to cut and use trees like they wanted to. A man from the king had to come and mark which trees they could cut. The colonists did a pine tree riot in 1772. So that was about 248 years ago. So 1772, there was a riot. The colonists did not like the high taxes on tea, and some patriots did the Boston Tea Party, throwing tea into the harbor one night in December of 1773. So about a year after that pine tree riot. So now we're up to 1773. First Continental Congress, September of 1774. Well, this next flag is another flag showing the patriots were serious about changes. So, it mentions liberty or death. So, give me liberty, which would be freedom. So, give me my freedom, or I'm willing to fight to the death if need be. Don't tread on me. The tread being like your bicycle tire or a car tire has tread on it, and if that tire hits a bug on the road or whatever, it's going to squash it. So don't squash me, don't tread on me. This snake is all coiled up. It's a rattlesnake, it's ready to go. Now if you leave that rattlesnake alone, they're not going to hurt you if you stay back from it. But if you come in and do things like that it doesn't want you to do, like the people didn't want the taxes, etc., if you do things that it doesn't want you to do, it's going to strike. So they're saying, we're ready to strike. You better back off, because we're going to fight to the death. And this particular group that had this flag was the Culpeper Minutemen. They were from Culpeper, Virginia. Actually, I was there last May, and there's only one P in Culpeper, Virginia, but nonetheless, this is what this one says. And Minutemen means that at a minute's notice, they'll stop what they're doing, and they'll grab their gun, and they'll take actions to protect or fight, whichever the need may be. So that's a don't tread on me type flag. There's also some around that are yellow and look like this. It's just a snake and it doesn't have the group, particular group on the top, so don't tread on me. That's what these flags are about. One night British forces in Boston marched to Lexington and Concord wanting to take away stockpiles of gunpowder. Paul Revere, William Doss, and Samuel Prescott rode horses through the night to warn, saying, "The British are coming, the British are coming." Well, the Minutemen grabbed their guns, and that morning of April 19th, 1775, the American Revolutionary War started. So on the top of this year, this top date, April 19th, 1775, the war started. People started to shoot at each other, the British versus the Patriots, and blood started flowing. Shortly thereafter, 2 months later actually, the official Continental Army began and General George Washington was selected to be in charge. This is his Commander-in-Chief flag showing where, that would show where his headquarters was. So there's 13 stars there. He was in charge of all 13 colonies. So he was his Commander-in-Chief of the whole colonies. And you can notice also that they are six-pointed stars. Six-pointed stars, kind of like the Israel or King David type star is a six-pointed star. Later on, we're going to see five-pointed stars. So this is General Washington's Commander-in-Chief flag. This next one is the Grand Union. It's also called the Continental Colors. This style flag was authorized in December of 1775. It's like the British Red Ensign that I mentioned earlier, you know, the one on the British flags, or British ships. It had the British symbol up here and then it was all red. Well, what they did is they took a flag like that and they added white stripes. And they added just enough white stripes to have 7 red and 6 white stripes there. So 6 and 7, 13 stripes there, one for each colony. They used that for many months, and so that was called the Grand Union of the Continental Colors, beginning from December of 1775. In battle with smoke or fog, it was hard to tell the difference though between it and that British Red Ensign. So it wasn't the greatest thing. So they started thinking about getting a different flag and doing it a little bit differently. Well, after that December of 75, the next thing of significance I want to mention is July 4th of 1776. Now that should ring a bell to anybody who knows a little bit of U.S. history, because that was the signing of the Declaration of Independence. We were saying we are independent of you, Great Britain, and that is the event that we celebrate every 4th of July. And Forest Lake American Legion Post is the headquarters for the 4th of July Independence Day celebrations and the fireworks and whatever that we have here in Forest Lake. Flag number 7. Congress approved a new official flag design about a year later, which was June 14th, 1777. So you can notice in here I put the July 4th Declaration of Independence date, and then June 14th, 1777. That is the birthday of the design for our United States flag. They designed it and they said, okay, it's going to have the red and white stripes. How many? You know, 6 of one and 7 of the other, so there's 13. There's going to be a blue area up in the top here because they took away that British part. They didn't want that British symbol up in this top corner here. So they call it, the blue is called the Union. And it said that there's going to be 13 stars in that Union. Well, there's a Bennington type flag that's a little bit different up in here. And there's another one that has them all lined up every which way. And then this one is the one that, by tradition, Betsy Ross made this style and did them in a circle and changed it to a 5-pointed star, because you can take a piece of cloth and you can fold it this way and this way and that way and that way. And you can look it up on the internet and find out how to do that. But anyway, you can end up having to fold it, and all you do is you take a scissors and you cut across that, and you unfold it and go, whoo, presto, there's a perfect 5-pointed star. So tradition has it that she showed George Washington that, and he went from, okay, you can do a 5-pointed star instead of a 6-pointed star. So the other thing is, it's in a circle. One really good thing about a circle is strength. If you're this state here, and you got a state on your right, and you state on your left, or which other way around, And there you can protect, one can protect the other. So all the way around in a circle you have strength. So this is showing strength. George Washington said of the flag, "We take the stars from heaven, the red from our mother country, separating it by white stripes, thus showing that we have separated from her. And the white stripes go down to posterity, representing liberty." That was a quote of what George Washington said. This next flag has a total of 15 stars. Now, instead of being in a circle, they kind of put them hit or miss in lines. And Ron is counting in. What'd you come up with, Ron? How many stripes? 15. 15. Huh, we started off with 13. So they added, when Vermont became a state, and then Kentucky became a state. Vermont was in 1791, Kentucky in 1792. Well, they added a star for each one of those and stripes. Now they have 15 and 15. Then Tennessee joined, then Ohio, then Louisiana. Now we've got 18. Then in 1814, there's a battle at Fort McHenry, Maryland, and Francis Scott Key saw that battle. He saw it looking at an 18-star flag, because Tennessee, Ohio, and Louisiana joined after this, and it had 18 stripes on it. And what Francis Scott Key did, which was important for us today, is he penned a poem which ended up being the words to the Star-Spangled Banner, which became our national anthem. Well, after that, there are two other states that joined. There's Indiana and Mississippi. They joined, making it 20 stars, and so there was 20 stars by 1817. And the stripes were getting narrower and narrower. Think of it, if there were 20 stripes in here, they'd be getting narrower and narrower, each of the red and white stripe. So they decided that that's enough of that flag. Let's put that one away. And we're going to go with something different. So in 1818, they decided that, Congress is deciding this, to go back to the 13 stripes. And that's what we have today in here, is 13 stripes. But they'll add a star every time that a new state joins a union. And they'll, instead of changing it all in between times, many times during the year, they decided that just the 4th of July, they would change every year for however many states joined during that year. So every 4th of July, if there's anybody that joined, they put more stars in it. Well, Wisconsin became the 30th state in 1848, and Minnesota became the 32nd state in 1858. So Minnesota here, 32nd state in 1858. And then we went on more and more and more and more and more, and then we ended up with this one here, which is, let's see, how many, this one has 13 stripes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, yep, 13. But there's 6 rows, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 6 times 8 is 48. You're right, 48. Good multiplication there. All right, so there's 48 stars on this one. The 48th state was Arizona. It joined in 1912. So from 1912 on for, 40, 50 years, whatever, we were the 48th. They're going to show you how to fold this flag. And I'll keep talking a little bit while they do that. They fold it once that way, and then they're going to fold it again. So you fold it twice lengthways. And then Ron's going to start over here, because you want to end up with all the blue and the stars showing. So you start on this end here, and he's doing it in triangles. You're going to show us a triangle there, Ron? See? He's got a triangle. Keep going. The reason that we do it in a triangle, the symbolism behind that, is to first of all, take care of it and whatever, and a good way to have it. But besides that, the symbolism of the 3 is in Lexington and Concord. When we started the American Revolutionary War, those Minutemen, a lot of them, they wore a lot of different types of hats, and they did it in different ways, whatever. But a lot of them folded their hats up like it was a 3-cornered hat. So it stuck out in the front, and they stuck out on the 2 sides. So it's called a tri-cornered hat. So in honor of them, which were the first ones that fought for us, we folded in a triangle. But also, because of instead of just having one king, we have three branches of our government. We have the legislative branch, which is the senators and representatives or congressmen and women. And then there's the executive, which is the president. At state level, it's the governor. And then there's a judicial, which is the checking the laws and whatever, and making sure that people follow the laws. So there's three branches of the government, and so each of these corners does that. And yes, and you two did such a good job. What are you going to say there, Dave?
What we need to do is try to do is get the star right in the middle of the top, and we did a wonderful job, thanks to Ron.
Yeah.
Nice job, Ron.
Good going. All right, so that's how to fold the flag. And then that's a good way to store the flag then. This flag over here has 50 stars though. So what happened in there between that 48 and that 50? Well, in 1959, there's a state that joined the United States, and that one was?
Alaska.
Oh yes, you're right. And a year later in 1960, there's another one that joined?
Hawaii.
Hawaii. And that, have you ever seen the show Hawaii 5-0? Does that sound right? You know, Hawaii, 50 states, 50th state? Oh, okay. So we have 50 stars on this one. You could count those up if you want, and we still have the 13 stripes. Looks nice. This one here has gold fringe on it. Gold fringe all the way around, so it's a ceremonial type flag, not one that you'd leave up on a flagpole outside and whatever. It's more of a ceremonial flag with a gold fringe on it. Has an eagle on the top, which of course is our national bird, and you would always want that to be facing the audience. So Ron has that facing the audience, and then he picks it up and turns and marches it out at the end of the program. He's going to make it so turn that so that that flag or that eagle is flying on the way out. We call this the staff. You know, outside it would be called a flagpole, you know, big old flagpole if you have it out there, but otherwise you call it the staff, and this is just gold cords that are on it.
And why is it located right here?
Why is it located right there? Well, there's a thing about being in the right or the left and whatever, and I'm going to get to that in a little bit. I'll let you thinking about that just for a little bit. At military posts, forts, and bases, they typically bugle reveille in the morning to raise the flag. And then at the end of the workday, they bugle, retreat, and then to the colors. Well, during that time, all vehicles stop. And there's at least one person, if there's kids, sometimes they'll leave those in the car or whatever, but otherwise everybody will get out, stand there and wait, you know, especially at the going to home one, which is the retreat one. They pause a little bit in between so everybody can stop. And then you turn, you figure out where the post flag is or where's the music coming from, and you turn and you get out. And if you're in civilian clothes, which most of you kids or whatever would be unless you join the military someday, you get out and then you do those four things. You'd stand up, so you're outside your car, you're standing, you turn and face where the flag is or the music is. You take off your hat and you go ahead and put your hand over your heart. So you'd stand there like this until the bugle was done doing to the colors and stopped, and then you could go on your way. So if you get in a military post sometime, and you start hearing this, you'll know what to do. Outside of schools, there's a flagpole. And if you're chosen to raise a flag, you should raise it up rather quickly, is the way you put it up rather quickly. But if it's to be at half staff because somebody has died or it's Memorial Day or Peace Officers Day or something like that, then it's at half staff. What you do is you bring it all the way up to the top of the flagpole, and then you bring it down halfway to half staff. And then you'd leave it there for the day or whenever. And then when you'd go ahead and retrieve it, you'd come up and first of all, and you'll see this later, whenever you're going to take a flag and retrieve it, the first thing you do is you pay it honor. So as a civilian, you put your hand over your heart, and anybody watching will go, oh, they're supposed to do it because they're respecting the flag. They're putting their hand over their heart, and they're not just grabbing it. So you put your hand over your heart, and then you'd go ahead and lower it, and you lower it slowly. And if it was at half staff, you don't just come down. If it's at half staff, you take it up to the top first, and then you bring it all the way down. So that's how you would do it if you were taking the flag down if it was at half-staff. On Memorial Day, which is the last Monday in May, in the morning, the flag is to be at half-staff every Memorial Day, which is the last Monday of May. And the May 15th is Peace Officers Memorial Day, and then it's on half-staff. By the way, back to Memorial Day, just in the morning, you have it at half-staff, and then in the afternoon, after we've honored everybody who's fought and given their life for their country, then in the afternoon we celebrate the freedom that we have. So at noon on Memorial Day, you bring it up to full staff. There are many different so-called flag days throughout the year, but you can and should fly the colors every day to show your patriotism. And as long as there is enough light near a flag, you can display it at night. Now the picture board, we're going to get back to what Ron is trying to get at as to positioning and whatever, and that's related to the picture board and where we put the flag. The place of honor is to the right. So the flag would be on the right side. Now for me, the right side is over here. For the audience, that is really the left side. But it's not from the audience's perspective, the right or left. Think of the flag as being a living thing, and it's looking this way. Or if it was up on the stage here, and it happened to be sitting right here where this tree is, it wouldn't be facing the wall. That's not the way it's facing. It'd be facing this way, and so it's on the right side of the stage. Now it can be in the middle, or anywhere to the right side of middle, and be technically correct. Same way on the front here. Middle or anywhere on the right side. Now if it was with the audience back in that area, and you could say that it was down by the audience, whatever, well then it could be on the audience's right. If it's on the wall, you always look at each wall and go, okay, which side of the wall is it on? So if it was on this wall back here, it would be over here by that tree or in the middle. If it was on this wall, it wouldn't be here because the flag is looking this way. That would be the left side. The right side would be way down there on the other side of the wall. So every single wall has a right place to put a flag and a wrong place to put it. Classrooms, same way. So kids, when you get back to your classroom, whether it be next fall or whenever it is, see where your flag is in your classroom and check that out and see if it's correct or if it's on the wrong side. So that's a right side versus left side. There's also when you're marching, in the flag right here, this is, I mentioned 4th of July that we are in the front of the parade. Dave Rovang is there, and that's me, and there's Ron Hoheisel carrying the U.S. flag, one of the two U.S. flags. Notice that the flags are on this side, it's the right side because they're going this way, and so the right-hand side is the place of honor, that's where the U.S. flags are, and then the organizational flags, the VFW, the American Legion flag, and the POW missing in action, and the prisoner of war flag are all to the left of that. Another way of doing it would be putting the U.S. flag out in the front. So either front and center or on the right-hand side, either way. These blue unions in these three flags here shows you three different ways to have a flag hanging up. And the union, if you have it hanging up, is always on the flag's right. So think of this flag as looking out at you, and to the right side is where the blue union is. Same way here. This flag happens to be pointed downward, and the union is still on that upper right-hand side as far as the flag is concerned. So pointing downward. So that's the way they are. And some of you might look at Ron's flag here and go, uh-oh, that flag is opposite. This flag really should have the blue on this side over here on the back side. But the reason that it's the way it is if it was on this shoulder, it would be looking the right way. But this is a reverse one, because if the blue is always where the pole is, the staff is on this side. So if Ron is going forward, because he's a forward-looking guy, he's going forward. Come on, Ron. You're going forward. The flag is flying out to the rear then, so it's going back in the wind. So that's why if it's on that right shoulder, it'll be a reverse flag instead of a forward type flag on the other side. So that's that. You can see there's a huge, large flags here, different flags of different ways. The next thing would be a veteran's casket. The veteran's casket, when we do funeral honors for a lot of veterans, and they put the casket flag, a U.S. flag, on the casket. And when it's on the casket, it'll always be on, if the person was laying down, it would be over their left shoulder. So the blue part would be by their head and on their left shoulder. And one of the reasons is it'd be left shoulder close to their heart. And a lapel pin, you'd put a lapel pin, if this is a regular suit jacket, lapel pin, you'd put it over your heart on this side here, not on this side. Displayed by itself, like on a wall, we talked about it already, and on a stage, be on the right-hand side. The POW and missing an action flag and state flags can be on the same flagpole as the U.S. flag, but the U.S. flag would be on the top, and the other one would be down below. If you look at the American Legion flag, we have a U.S. flag, and we have a POW flag, and we have an American Legion flag, all on the same pole. But you never put an advertisement along with the United States flag. So for instance, if there is a company that had a flagpole and a company or a U.S. flag on the top, they cannot put their company flag, which is really advertising, this is who we are kind of a thing, it's an advertisement. You cannot put that on that same flagpole. If they want a different flagpole and put their advertising for whatever they're advertising, that's fine, but not on the same flagpole. And that's all. There's a flag code that tells you what you can do and what you cannot do. Some of the other things you can't do, the colors should not be tied up, but always be allowed to hang free. It should not be attached to the ceiling, like a ceiling cover. It should not touch things under it or be draped on things, except for the casket. You can drape a casket, but other than that, you don't drape things with a real U.S. flag. It's not cut up or used as material for clothes or curtains, drapes. It's not embroidered on things or printed on temporary use items that are thrown away, such as napkins. You don't make a napkin with you don't put a flag symbol on a napkin. And no disrespect should be shown to the colors. It should not be dipped or lowered, for instance, during the national anthem. The colors stay up, and then other lesser flags, like a state flag or whatever, they would be dipped when we salute, but not the U.S. flag. And that brings to mind those who disrespect the flag in our country during the national anthem by taking a knee and dipping themselves. They can do that before or after the music, but there's only one position that you should be in during the playing of our national anthem, and that brings us back to the four. Standing up, facing the flag, hat off, hand over the heart. Treat the flag as your friend, one who you respect and honor. The flag represents a living country and is itself considered a living thing. That sentence is a quote right from the flag code. Title 4, Chapter 1, Paragraph 8, Subtitle J. And a whole nation of patriots have placed it above their lives and risked everything that they have. At this point, we usually take questions, and kids have all kinds of questions. Today we'll answer a few of the typical ones that are asked. So, Vicki, could you think of one?
Yes. Do you throw away a flag if it has dropped to the ground or is dirty?
Oh, that's a very good question. No. You clean it, and you try to keep it clean. So you don't have to throw it away. You can clean it, take it to dry cleaners, or you can wash by hand or whatever. So just because it touches the ground, you don't have to throw it away.
Thank you.
All right. But what if what should I do though if it's an old, torn, and a faded flag? Should I put it in the garbage?
Definitely you don't want to put anything like that in the garbage. What you want to do is bring it to an American Legion or a VFW post. There are also businesses that will collect them. Then at the beginning of June, we gather them and we take them down to our vets camp here over on Big Marine Lake, and we have a ceremony where we retire those flags. And they are burned in a ceremony, during a ceremony, then all the ashes are cleaned up and buried in a respectful manner.
So it's kind of like we cremated them.
Very much so, yes.
Thank you. And when do we do that?
It's the Saturday closest to the 14th is what they say, but sometimes that doesn't happen. But it's June 14th, right around that Saturday.
Yeah, it's the second Saturday is what they kind of do, which is really close to the June 14th being the birthday of the design of the flag, June 14th. So thanks. We do that ceremony. It's open to the public. It's at noon on that second Saturday, and anybody can come. It'd be great to come and see that.
And approximately how many flags have we retired?
Thousands. You know. He's one of the stackers. They stack them up on the big metal things.
They just aren't laid down on the ground. They're on a metal frame, so they're off the ground. And we've not counted them, but I know that stacking after 2 days, we have close to 8, 9, 10,000 flags that are there to be retired.
Yeah. The last time we really counted, there was like 7,000, and since then we don't count anymore. But so we get them, from all over. Dave, do you have a question?
Why is it that we're wearing white gloves when we're doing this ceremony?
Well, that is to keep our oily fingers and whatever. Now mine are pretty dry hands, but anyway, and I don't have gloves on because I don't touch the flag. But anyway, the flag, we don't want to transfer the oil, and it's a sign of respect. It's a sign of respect to the flag. So thank you for that question. Another question that we had in 2018 actually was from a student at Lino Lakes. How many stars were on the flag during the Civil War? I thought, whoa, this person even knows about the Civil War a little bit, number one. Number two, that was a good question. I gave a close guess of about 34 at that time. And, but afterwards, I wondered if they took the southern states' stars off. So I went home and I researched it and whatever, and I found out, nope. On the northern Yankee side, they kept all of the stars on it. And so there were 33 when the stars on the flag, because 33 states when the war started in 1861. And then Kansas joined just before the war started, but it doesn't take effect until July 4th to change to the 34 stars. So that was, the 34 came on. West Virginia seceded from Virginia, and they became the 35th state in the Union. And then Nevada joined, and they were the 36th state. So we had different numbers, but anywhere from 33 to 36 when we had our Civil War, and that was in the 1860s. Anybody else have another question? Because I have a question for them. No? Here's a question for you. Do you know where there are 6 U.S. flags that were placed beginning in 1969, and they are still standing, except the first one fell down? I'll give you a hint. Apollo. But that's all a hint. Okay? Thank you very much. And the last thing that we are going to do is we're going to show you how to retire the colors. So, color guard, fall in. And as I mentioned before, first thing you always want to do is you want to salute the flag before you retire it or take it somewhere. Hand salute. 2. Retrieve. Colors. Right, face. Forward, march. Mark time, march. Colors, halt. Fall out.